You know what I think you should do? Take care of it.
Tell me you don't want him to get an A word.
Yes, I do, and I won't say it for little baby ears over there, but it rhymes with SHMASHMORTION. I'm just saying, hold on, Jay, cover your ears. You should get a SHMASHMORTION at the SHMASHMORTION clinic.
Oh shit, okay. Hi everybody, my name is Adrian. I've got a lot on my mind. How about you? Let's talk about it. So today my guest is Sadie Hernandez, and she's here today to talk about abortion positivity.
Abortion positivity is just knowing that, you know, abortion isn't a bad choice. There's a lot of abortion stigma, so being abortion positive, you can do this in many ways. You can share your abortion story or not, however you feel comfortable. But you can also, you know, talk about abortion without being afraid of saying the word, but also even just being knowledgeable and helping your friends and family find resources for abortion procedures and information. You know, we're here to support anyone who needs an abortion or wants an abortion, and so that's abortion positivity.
Yeah. One thing that I find myself talking to people about whenever I talk about abortion is they're always like, well, I could never do that, and I don't see how someone can bring themselves to do that. And I'm like, hey, well, that's cool. Like, part of being pro-choice is fighting for everybody's right to choose what they want to do. We're not saying, hey, we're pro-choice, go get an abortion at least once in your lifetime, you should try it. If you get to that place, then, you know, you'll know that you're being supported. And
yeah, definitely, and that's what we're here to do. We're here to like smash abortion stigma,
yes.
But we do this in many ways. However, there are some people who are out there protesting abortion clinics every day and harassing people who are trying to get into the clinics and stuff. So we have clinic escorting programs. We don't live in a world where it's just super easy to go get an abortion, and so one of the steps we take...
You stupid We're done.
Fired. So yeah, everyone should clinic escort at least once in their life. If you feel like you don't know what side you're on, I totally recommend going down to Women's Health in McAllen and just seeing, just like on the ground, what kind of abortion stigma is here in the Valley and how you can help other people out here. The Poderosas are a group of super powerful, awesome pro-choice activists here in the Valley. They're a group of women who go out into like colonias and in the community and educate people from everything from sex education to providing information where they can seek affordable reproductive health care services. The Women's Health versus Hellerstedt case, which was the Supreme Court case against the super extremist anti-abortion bill here in Texas, HB 2. So what the Poderosas did is they went around the Valley and they collected stories from, you know, people who haven't had access to reproductive health care. And they took these stories and they were presented at the Supreme Court during the oral arguments. And so these women helped the Supreme Court decide in our favor, and they ruled that the Texas HB 2 law was an undue burden, which violated Roe versus Wade. So we won, and so I just want to let everybody know that the RGV women do make history, and abortion positivity is strong in the Valley, but we just need to talk about it more.
We need to talk about it more. What is this? What is this urge.org?
URGE is Unite for Reproductive and Gender Equity, which is basically a reproductive justice and rights organization that goes on the ground and tries to abolish abortion stigma, as well as try to influence policy on the state and federal level. So for example, the URGE chapter on campus, they're at both UTRGV campuses, Edinburgh and Brownsville. We do a lot of abortion stigma work. We have abortion positive like workshops and information for people. We have partnerships with different organizations that do different types of work. So you can see in these stickers, they're super cute. So like abortion, sorry not sorry, and abortion, you do you, because abortion is a personal choice that shouldn't be influenced by anybody's personal beliefs, religious or not. Yeah.
I feel like we've said abortion stigma, that phrase, a few times already, and I think it's really important to address that head on, because stigma is this like ugly thing that ruins a lot of movements and it gets in the way of a lot of things, but especially abortion, because people seem to think that abortion and reproductive justice is this like sort of like myth, like they never see like a face put to it, they never hear it being talked about it positively.
Yeah.
So I think this is like a really important conversation to have.
Yeah, that's what we do with URGE. We do a lot of abortion storytelling. We're partnered up with the 1 in 3 campaign, which collects and distributes abortion stories across the board through text, comic book, and videos. So we do that because, 1 in every 3 women will have an abortion, which means a lot of people know someone who's had an abortion. But they don't know the stories behind it.
So you are also here today to talk about the Abortion Positive Tour.
So I've mentioned the URGE chapter at UTRGV a lot. So what we're doing in April is on April 17th at the UTRGV Brownsville campus, we're having this big abortion positive event where we're gonna have speakers, giveaways, and we're just gonna, put a positive light on abortion. You shouldn't be afraid to be openly pro-choice. You shouldn't be afraid to say that you had an abortion. You shouldn't be afraid to engage in these conversations. And if you go to the tour, we'll give you the tools to talk about abortion. We'll give you some different information. It's going to be this big, huge coalition event, and so we'll have people say their personal abortion stories. We'll have people there with information on abortion policy, federal and statewide. And so we're trying to make this an accessible thing for people on campus to let them know, if you're interested in getting involved with either abortion policy, storytelling, or anything like that, there's a place to do it. We're established. We have tools for you and resources, and if you want any trainings or anything like that, there's a place to go. When we talk about reproductive justice, we're talking about not only having the right to an abortion, but what it means to have a right to an abortion. Because technically everyone has a right to an abortion because of Roe v. Wade. However, because of different social issues, not everybody has the same amount of access. Here in the Valley, we're disproportionately affected by policy. We're disproportionately affected because of our brown skin and our border region. And we're also just economically affected by this. Not everybody has the means to drive from Brownsville to McAllen or a Colonia to McAllen to get an abortion, let alone have access to even finding out they're pregnant in the first place. And so when we talk about abortion positivity, we're also talking about how and when you want to raise your family. And there's a lot of different things, like queer people get abortions too. Whenever we talk about abortion, all you hear is women, but trans men get abortions, and so do people who don't identify with any gender. So there's a lot of people who often get left out of the conversation, and so when we talk about our stories with URGE and the 1 in 3 campaign, we always try to be as inclusive as possible, because this is about justice for everyone. And it's all connected because we're all in this social justice struggle together, and we're all working together, because the people united will never be divided.
Okay. You gained some attention via Twitter with the Stand With Sadie campaign, which is amazing. So can you tell us more about hashtag Stand With Sadie?
Okay. So this goes into the reproductive justice aspect of it. Stand With Sadie was started because the Texas legislature wrote a budget in 2015 trying to remove breast and cervical cancer federal funding for Planned Parenthood, so that way Planned Parenthood would be the last people to get the funding, and they'd just get scraps and not be able to provide breast and cervical cancer screenings to people in the Valley. It also disproportionately affected, access across Texas. And so I stood outside of the governor's mansion for 17 days straight, 12 hours a day, trying to get him to line item veto the rider. Literally all I had to do was cross out a line in the bill and sign it. But instead, then he ended up signing it. However, we did get this social media campaign because the Texas legislature and Governor Abbott were super affected by abortion stigma. They removed funding for breast and cervical cancer screenings because some Planned Parenthoods provide abortion services. What does that say about the Texas legislature and how they really care about, women and people here in the state? So bottom line is reproductive justice is the ability for anyone and everyone, regardless of economic status, gender identity, sexual orientation, geography, to have the power to not only have autonomy over their body, but to choose when, how, and where they will raise a family, and to be able to raise that family, whether or not they want one, safely and in an environment where they don't have to be afraid. So reproductive justice is important for everybody. Most people have families or, chosen families, and to have the right to say what you're going to do with your body is something that should be given to everybody, and to have the right to, live in a community where you, your friends, and your family will all be safe and live without fear and with choice is something that's really important. We don't want to live in a world where people are shamed for trying to access health care, especially when we live in a state that doesn't offer preventative services as simple as, sex education. Reproductive justice is a community issue, and it's something we should all be fighting for.
Okay, so that seems to be all for today. Thank you, Sadie, so much for being here, and
thank you for inviting me. I'm your biggest fan. I really am.
We're gonna get married one day.
No, but for real, thank you so much for being here and talking about all of this. It's really important. I'm super excited and proud, and I admire you for everything that you're doing and everybody out there doing the work.
Thank you for the tacos, and remember, April 17th, UTRGV Brownsville Abortion Positive Tour hosted by URGE and the Feminist United Pro-Choice Coalition at UTRGV. If you want to learn more about abortion positivity, you can go to urge.org. If you want to learn more about the pro-choice work on the ground with real-time updates, you can follow me on Twitter, and you can find other reproductive justice and pro-choice activists on my Twitter account too. And just let me know so I can let you know who to follow.